McCourty. J-Mac, what's the one big move that you would like to see happen this NFL offseason?
I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs bring over Kenneth Walker in free agency, the reigning Super Bowl MVP and champion. This guy is a break tackles machine, and he can fit in any scheme. And I look at Eric Bieniemy coming back to Kansas City as the offensive coordinator. He's going to want to bring a nastiness, and part of that is getting the run game going, especially while Patrick Mahomes recovers.
Graz, we bring you in from Indy. What's the one move that you would like to see this offseason?
I want to see the Bears go all in for Maxx Crosby. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, but this is a team right on the cusp trying to maximize a rookie contract with a quarterback, and an edge rusher like Maxx Crosby would be a difference maker for their defense. You're talking about a team that lost in overtime to the Rams in the divisional round of the playoffs. They are right there. They should be thinking kind of the way Washington was this time last year about how do we take that next step as quickly as possible.
All right, let's bring this to everybody here for a second, because Maxx Crosby's name has been hot the last few weeks. We saw the podcast with Caleb Williams last week where he's basically giving Caleb his flowers and saying, you're the next big thing. Mike Tannenbaum, when you think of Maxx Crosby, A, do you think the Raiders would be willing to part with him? And then B, what exactly would be the bounty that would it take to get him off that Raiders roster?
Peter, this is a hard and consequential decision for the new administration in Vegas, because Maxx Crosby is everything you want your program to be about. How hard he plays, how productive he is. He's in his prime. But this is a massive rebuild. So if I was Vegas, I would come to Indy and say, hey, I need your highest and best offer. And I think they would get multiple first-round picks. The Bears are a good choice that Graz suggested, but I look at other teams, Buffalo, certainly Detroit, even Tampa Bay, a team that may be one player away, would have to consider multiple picks for a player like Maxx Crosby.
All right, Crosby's great. He really is. But he wasn't the best defensive player in the league last year. Yeah. That was someone else. Mike Tannenbaum, what is one big move you'd like to see happen this offseason?
Myles Garrett to the Detroit Lions. Who says no? Again, here's a team in Cleveland that is in a massive rebuild. They have a lot of questions on offense. They have a new head coach in Todd Monken, and they are a ways away from competing in the AFC, given uncertainty at the quarterback position, amongst other places. And then you look at Detroit guys, if they have Aiden Hutchinson on one side and Myles Garrett on the other, with that offense, I think they get to the Super Bowl. They beat Seattle, they beat San Francisco, they beat the Rams. I think they would become the best team in the NFC.
J-Mac, your thoughts? Myles Garrett.
I look at this a year ago, I would have said Mike T, absolutely. We were looking at Myles Garrett complaining about what the future is going to be in Cleveland. He wasn't under contract. They just signed him to a massive deal just last year when the circumstances were really all the same that they are now. It was a team that needed to rebuild, didn't have answers at the quarterback position, and were just trying to figure it out. You fast forward to right now, they're in the exact same situation. So it's hard for me to imagine that they part ways with Myles Garrett now when they wouldn't do it a year ago. But who knows? I'm not mad at the fact of what their situation is. So I understand why Mike T is saying that.
Graz, you and I have hung out at combines for 20 years. Just when you think you can't see something topped, there's always a piece of news this week in February that we're like, whoa, didn't see that coming. Could you see Garrett being a part of potential trade talks after last year's drama and them giving them the big deal?
I mean, it makes sense to me, but it's not something I'm hearing. The Browns still seem adamant that they don't want to trade him. He is not making the same kind of noise he was making this time last year about wanting a trade. So while I feel like it makes sense for them to consider it, given what you could probably get for this player, given that the extension they did with him last offseason doesn't make the contract untradeable in any real way, I think it's something they should be looking at, but it doesn't sound like they are. Maybe we'll find something out here in the next couple of days. In terms of who says no to the Detroit move, Mike T, the salary cap, right? They just signed Aiden Hutchinson to a massive deal, and they have Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, Sam Laporta to do extensions with this offseason. I think it sounds great, the idea of Garrett in Detroit, but I don't know how they pay for it.
Fair. Guys, plenty more coming out of you guys. And enjoy Indy for the next couple of days. I will be get us started with the Cowboys, who made a move yesterday.
Yeah, Cowboys kicking off the free agent running back market with a deal for Javonte Williams. Strong deal for Javonte. He gets $16 million fully guaranteed over the first 2 years. So the Cowboys locking up is still 25-year-old running back coming off a 1,200-yard, 11-touchdown season. And it's an interesting start, Peter, to a running back market that's also going to include the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker, and some other big names.
Let's bring in Mike Tannenbaum and Jason McCourty here, because Graz just laid it out pretty clearly as far as the running back market goes. But Mike T, I got to ask you, we were talking about George Pickens the last 2 weeks, not Javonte Williams. Will George Pickens be next? Do you see that move being an immediate next step?
Not at all, Peter. George Pickens had an incredible year, over 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns. And I'm sure he's saying, hey, I want frontline #1 wide receiver money, $40 million a year, somewhere in the Jamar Chase range. Dallas is going to say, no, 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 no. You're our second best receiver behind CeeDee Lamb. T. Higgins is the highest paid #2 receiver at about $28 million a year. If you said to me, hey, September 1st, before or after this deal gets done, I'm going after Peter. Wow. I think this is a really hard deal to get done.
Wow. After September 1st, meaning we're going to have a long summer of Cowboys contract talk for what feels like the 5th summer in a row. Graz, let's get to a topic that gets discussed every offseason now. What can you tell us about the latest on the tush push?
Yeah, Rich McKay of the league's competition committee saying yesterday that no team has submitted a proposal, a rules proposal this year for a tush-push ban, so he doesn't anticipate one coming up. Obviously, they still have another few weeks. The owners' meeting at the end of March is when they vote on these things, but as of now, it doesn't feel like there's that kind of momentum that there was last year for a ban of the Eagles' tush-push play.
J-Mac, this is all we talked about last year going into the Combine, whether the Rules Committee would end up overturning it and removing it. Pretty quiet topic now. What was your reaction to this news?
It reminded me of arguments that I have with my wife where all the reasons just start to just come out of nowhere. First, it's health and safety. Then it's the aesthetics of the play. It looks like rugby. But at the end of the day, I'm correct, and you just move on past it, and it's silence on the other end. I look at this play, stop it. And you look at what's gone on over the last year for other NFL teams. The reason no one's talking about it is because the play wasn't as successful this year. Defense has caught up. They figured out ways to stop it. We watched Jalen Hurts lose a fumble on the tush push. So now going forward, there's multiple teams that do it now, but defenses and teams, they aren't as passionate about it because they're like, you know what? We've gone back, we've watched the film, and we've figured out different avenues to stop this play so it no longer is all the nonsense that we've seen over the last few years where the Eagles were absolutely dominant at scoring with it.
I mean, I remember more than half the league, I think, voted to get rid of it last year.
Yeah.
It's not even being proposed right now. Graz, I'm shocked that it's not even being discussed. But let's move on to Kansas City. What's the latest you've got on the Travis Kelce situation there?
Yeah, Chiefs head coach Andy Reid not coming to the Combine this year. He did a news conference last week, said there has been communication with Travis Kelce, and in Andy Reid's words, that means people want to move forward. So he said, I think that's where Travis is. So it sounds like the Chiefs and Travis Kelce are discussing a potential reunion for 2026. His contract has expired. He's a free agent. They have to get a new deal done with him to bring him back. But it sounds like there's some interest on both sides.
J-Mac, I want to bring you in here. As you played for many teams, your brother went wire to wire with the Patriots. If you are the Chiefs, are you making sure that Travis Kelce isn't donning some other jersey next year? Are you making sure you bring him back?
No brainer. Absolutely, we're bringing him back. Not only because of what he's done and what he means. He's going to obviously be a first ballot Hall of Famer and what he's done in the Kansas City Chiefs uniform. But he was still good last year. I think sometimes we get caught up on the fact that Travis Kelce's been so good throughout his career that when he has a little bit of a slide, we look at it and say, oh, he's no longer good. No, he still was at the top in the NFL when it comes to reception and yards among tight ends. So he is still up there, and he's also at 11 yards per catch. That's up since 2022, and 5.7 yards after the catch, which is his highest since 21. So this is still a very productive player that deserves to still be in that Kansas City Chiefs uniform.
Mike Tannenbaum, as fans and as reporters, sometimes there's some sentimentality here, and they've got a lot of heart and emotion. What do you think about bringing back Kelce at 37 after the performance he had last year?
I wouldn't do it. And that's when you're in the front office and you're a head coach, you have to make the honest and sober observation that you want to pay a player for what they're going to do, not what they've done. He is slowing down. I know Jason had some statistics there, but he did go from 97 to 76 catches. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes was hurt. But when you look at the best tight ends in the game right now, Trey McBride's 27, Brock Bowers is 25, Sam Laporte is 25. There's some really good tight ends in the draft, like Kenyon Sadiq, Max Clare, Michael Trigg, amongst others. If I'm Kansas City, go get the next guy, honor Travis Kelce for what he's done, but go get the next young tight end and go take care of these other needs, tackle, running back, and receiver.
Oh, that would be such a tough move. All right, we're going to get back to you guys in a bit. Coming up, is it a slam dunk?